Well, Australia's budgetary woes look trifling compared with the economic trauma being felt across Europe. Eurozone markets are reeling after weekend elections in France and Greece provoked a backlash against austerity measures that have slashed jobs, welfare and services. The Greek bailout package is now in doubt after a voter revolt against mainstream parties, while France has a new left-wing president who has vowed to fight the austerity program. As Stephen Long reports, the debt crisis and the political crisis only look set to worsen.
Europe is marching to the left and to the right. In Greece, ominous gains for the far-right ultranationalists who campaigned on a platform of ousting immigrants.
I never can believe one political party who is coming outside with knives, with the iron rods, and they are going to kill the peoples, they are going to hurt the peoples. This is very seriously, very dangerous.
But the big swing in Greece was to the radical left, with humiliation for the pro-European mainstream Conservative and Social Democratic parties. Combined, they polled just a third of the vote.
The voters turned their backs on the parties that backed the bailout agreement. They reacted to the harsh austerity that was imposed on our country. Surely tomorrow will be a new day for our country.
I think we're seeing the political limits of austerity. There's only so much economic adjustment governments can drive by reducing salaries and benefits of ordinary people.
I think fundamentally what is happening is that unanimity about austerity is now breaking down. And I think what we are seeing is a revolt from both the far right of politics and the far left of politics against the austerity measures.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The French have also said non to austerity, electing a centre-left president who's vowed to end the debt crisis not by cutting spending, but by promoting growth.
Vive la République et vive la France!
He campaigned on a populist platform of taxing the rich and taxing banks.
Mon véritable adversaire, il n'a pas de nom.
My real enemy doesn't have a name or a face or a party. He'll never run as president, and so he'll never be elected, although he does govern. My enemy is the world of finance.
Outgoing President Nicolas Sarkozy had combined with the German Chancellor to impose austerity on southern Europe, and his exit creates a potential rift with Germany.
It's going to be a lot more difficult with Hollande as leader of France. You know, he's spoken out publicly against austerity. Angela Merkel is very committed to austerity. I'm not sure how they're going to bridge that gap. It's not going to be easy.
Shares tumbled and currencies swung after the election results as uncertainty rattled investors.
Well, in Greece, the most remarkable thing is that two major parties polled less than 35%. And in fact, the fringe parties are now going to have a say in the austerity. And the fringe parties may not agree on very much, but they do agree on the fact that they do not want to bow down before the diktats of Berlin and Brussels, which throws into doubt the entire bailout package. Because under the bailout package, the Greek parliament has to pass certain further austerity measures, which are now unlikely to get through, which means that the chance of a Greek default increases dramatically, and the chance of Greece leaving the euro also simultaneously increases dramatically.
But it may not stop at Greece. Spain is in a deep economic malaise, a quarter of the population unemployed, its banking system broke, and the nation also likely to need a bailout. Portugal and Ireland, already propped up by European rescue money, are meant to return to the financial markets to fund their national debt within a year. That seems implausible.
The markets aren't worried about Greece for Greece's sake. The markets are worried about Greece for the potential contagion effects. And if Greece withdraws, the worry would be that then all the fear, so to speak, would focus on Spain. And it's possible we could be seeing the first days of the end of the euro.
With capitalism in crisis, the fear is that parts of Europe may drift once again towards the brutal extremes.
And I think the rise of the far right and the far left suggests that we're not that far away from that moment, which is reminiscent of the 1930s.
Nobody fear me if he is a good Greek citizen. For everyone who is traitor, I don't care.
Well, for the first time in my working life, that I see the radical right and the radical left effectively have the same concerns. And their concerns are unemployment, which is translated into extreme agendas regarding immigration, and also an anti-Brussels and anti-Euro platforms. And this is going to make it very difficult to form stable governments in most of Europe.
Well, there's a number of worries. One of them is the rise of the extreme right parties in France and particularly in Greece. You know, democracies are literally straining. It's completely understandable. People are moving to parties they wouldn't normally support because their living standards have been so diminished.
Stephen Long reporting.